Dr. Alexander Hartigan is an inventor who teaches at New York's Columbia University in 1899. In contrast to his friend David Philby, Alexander would prefer to work in the field of pure research as opposed to business. He dedicates his time to creating a time machine that would enable him to go back in time and save his fiancée Emma after she is killed by a mugger. Once the machine is finished in 1903, he goes back in time to save her murder, only to see her death once more when a carriage spooks the horses of a different car. Alexander understands that trying to save Emma will only make her die from other causes. He goes back in time to 2030 to see if science has figured out a way to alter history. Time travel to the past is impossible, according to hologram librarian Vox 114 of the New York Public Library. Alexander goes back in time to 2037, when lunar colonists' unintentional damage of the moon has started to make the Earth essentially uninhabitable. He is rendered unconscious by debris while restarting the machine, and when he wakes up again, he goes 800,000 years forward to July 16, 802,701. The human species has returned to a prehistoric way of existence, and the Earth has healed. A group of survivors known as Eloi reside on the cliffs that formerly held Manhattan. Among the few Eloi who can speak English is a woman by the name of Mara, who helps Alexander get well. He realizes that perhaps his lessons contributed to this future as he looks at the broken moon. One night, Kalen, the younger brother of Mara, and Alexander dream of a beast calling their names and a visage with sharp teeth. When Alexander tells Mara about the dream, she replies that everyone has same dream. It is then that she discovers his watch is missing. The following day, ape-like creatures attack the Eloi and drag Mara underground. Known as Morlocks, they pursue the Eloi. Kalen guides Alexander to Vox 114, which is still operational after 800,000 years, in order to save Mara. Alexander reaches the Morlocks' underground stronghold through an entrance that mimics the face from his nightmare after learning how to locate them from Vox. He is taken prisoner and dumped into a room with Mara in a cage. Alexander encounters a humanoid, intellectual Uber-Morlock who informs him that the Eloi are descended from those humans who survived on Earth, while Morlocks are descended from those who went underground when the moon broke apart. The other Morlocks, who exploit the Eloi as food and breeding grounds, are subjugated by the Uber-Morlocks, a caste of telepaths. Since Emma's death was the reason Alexander built the time machine in the first place, the Uber-Morlock says that he cannot change Emma's fate because of temporal paradox, making it impossible to save her. Alexander is told to return home by the Uber-Morlock after he has shown him the time machine. As Alexander enters the machine, he drags the Uber-Morlock in after him, propelling them both into the future while they battle. When Alexander forces the Uber-Morlock to step outside the machine's temporal bubble, he quickly ages and perishes. Alexander comes to a stop at 635,427,810, presenting a desolate wasteland of Morlock tunnels beneath a harsh, rust-colored sky. Alexander returns to save Mara after realizing he is unable to save Emma. He releases her, then turns on the machine and jams the gears, warping time in the process. Alexander and Mara flee to the surface while being chased by the Morlocks, and the time distortion explodes, killing the Morlocks and destroying the time machine along with their caves. Vox 114 assists Alexander in educating Mara and the Eloi as he starts a new life with them. Alexander's housekeeper, Mrs. Watchett, and Philby talk about his absence from his laboratory in 1903. Mrs. Watchett is informed by Philby that he would like to recruit her as a housekeeper and that he is happy that Alexander has moved to a peaceful environment. She agrees to wait till Alexander gets back. Mrs. Watchett bids Alexander goodnight, and Philby walks off, turning to face the lab with fondness, before triumphantly discarding his bowler hat as an homage to Alexander's refusal to follow blindly.